Good morning, everybody. I am making a roast today. I'm starting off in my cast iron roaster. This does have a lid, and I have put some oil in the bottom, and I just rubbed it along the bottom and the sides just so the meat doesn't stick. Okay, so I've got my roast in the pot. It's about 2.5 pounds, and it is a chuck roast. I did liberally cover the top with ground pepper, and I'm going to add quite a bit of salt because it is a pretty big piece of meat. I'm not going to put any garlic powder on it right now. I will later on, but in this beginning portion of cooking it, garlic powder or garlic in general can really burn and ruin the roast, and so I don't normally put it right away. So this is going to brown for about 10 minutes. I'm going to keep checking it, and I look for just a little bit of charring on the bottom of the roast before I flip it over. Okay, our roast has been cooking for about 10 minutes. Looking pretty good, but I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. This is some Worcestershire sauce. And I'm going to add some chopped onions. Oh, that looks good. Smells good too. The onions is to flavor the meat and flavor the gravy. And the Worcestershire sauce is really good to flavor meat. It smells really good. So I will check it back in about maybe 6-7 minutes or so. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 10 more minutes, and I did turn it over. I'm going to add some garlic powder and some salt. I did add pepper already. And I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let this cook and maybe come check on it in about an hour and a half or so. And I'm checking to see if there's liquid on the bottom, just so it doesn't burn. The liquid from the meat and the liquid from the onions should actually create enough liquid in the pot so it doesn't burn. But I will be checking it, so we'll see how it turns out, but I will be covering it. All right, we're checking our roast. Ooh, looks good. All right, you want to just check it just to make sure that there's liquid on the bottom. You see how that there's liquid there? So that's good. I'm gonna keep the lid closed. This cast iron pot has a really solid seal, so I have to be really careful. The steam doesn't really escape out of it, so I do check it every now and then because this is going to be cooking for a few hours. So I'm going to come back and maybe check on it in 45 minutes to an hour. It's still on medium-low heat, and I'm just checking to make sure that there's always liquid in the bottom. If it boils out, it will burn, and your roast will be ruined. So we'll check it back in a little bit, maybe in 45 minutes or so. Okay, it's been a little while. Let's check how our roast is doing. We do have liquid on the bottom, so that's good. And we're just kind of checking it. It's a little tender on the side. So that's good. We mainly want to check that there's liquid in there. And then every so often I go back and I just check to see how tender it is. So we're going to cover this up again. I did make it a little bit... I did lower the heat a little bit more. I think I put it on number 2 because it was boiling pretty good. So we'll check it back in about an hour or so. Okay, it's been a couple of hours later, and the meat is getting nice and tender. You can see that the fork is going into it nice and easy. There is liquid on the bottom, so that's going to be for the gravy. I'm going to add in some peeled and cut carrots, and I'm going to let it steam on the top of the roast. When the carrots are softened, I will be taking it out, and hopefully the roast will be done about the same time. So I will be checking on that and come back in maybe 15-20 minutes to check the carrots. Okay, so the carrots are soft, so we're going to take those out. The carrot that was kind of boiling in the liquid, that's going to add flavor to the gravy. These are going to be good. Whoops. Okay, the carrots are all out. I put it in a separate dish, and you can see that the roast is tender. So I'm going to take the roast out, slice it up, and then make some gravy. Okay, I have taken some, maybe a tablespoon and a half of cornstarch. I've mixed it with some cold water, and we're going to add it to the drippings of the roast. Make sure your drippings are boiling, and make sure the water that you added to your cornstarch is cold, because if it isn't, it's going to get lumpy. I'm gonna add the rest of that in. I'm gonna just mix it around. Now all that onion and the carrot flavor has now made your gravy. Let your cornstarch slurry cook in the gravy, maybe a minute or two, and then taste it. You can adjust the salt and pepper, even add a little garlic powder, but this should be pretty good. The sliced roast is now mixed in with the gravy, and we are done. We are ready to go. And we have our carrots that we cooked earlier. I'm going to serve it separately. You could just put it right on top of the roast, but I like to keep it separate. All right, thank you. Hope you enjoy.